Welcome to our live stream. Today we are going to be talking about how teachers who are going to be teaching remotely or even in a hybrid format in the fall, how Discord can be used as a platform for interaction. If you would like to grow as an artist and you can't afford an art class, we've got everything you need here at Art Prof, critiques and tutorials. Now, if you have not seen our section on artprof.org, there's a new section called Teaching and Learning Art Online, where I have consolidated all of our content that has to do with training teachers to teach remotely. And I really recommend those of you who are teachers, and actually everybody else here, you want to be one of the cool kids, don't you? And the cool kids are all hanging out in the Art Prof Discord. The invite link is in the video description below. But teachers, if you're watching, joining the Art Prof Discord is a really good way to see a Discord server that's already in action, that is very lively. And plus, I'm in there pretty much every single day. So any support that teachers are looking for, join the Discord because it's a really nice, supportive community. And it would just be a great place to experience what Discord is like before you actually get started with your classes. By the way, those of you who are watching right now, tell me if you're a teacher, tell me if you're a student, and totally fine if you're neither as well. I think a lot of this is going to be helpful for anybody navigating Discord. And I know some of you guys are in the Discord all the time. Any tips or little bits of information that you feel can enhance what I'm going to tell teachers is absolutely helpful for this entire stream. Now, the way that I am going to contextualize Discord, and again, every teacher has a completely different scenario that they're working in. And so I just want to say, if you're a teacher and you're watching this, ultimately, you have to do what works best for you. For some of you, Discord may not be a good fit. Maybe your district has restrictions about different platforms you're allowed to use. So I understand that that is a concern for a lot of people, but I'm going to show you what you can do, and then you can step back and decide on your own if it's something that's going to be a good fit. Now, what I like to do is to, number one, consolidate platforms. Now, I am not teaching in the fall a brick and mortar traditional classroom remote learning situation. But if I were to do it again, I would absolutely use Discord. Last semester at RISD, I used Instagram chat. I had just been starting to get into Discord. I didn't feel that I understood it so much. And now that I've spent more time on it, and I really have had time to reflect upon remote learning, I absolutely think I would do it again. So the way that I put things up together is I have all the interactions are on Discord. YouTube is for videos, whether they are your videos, teachers, that you have made, or they're other people's videos. And I use storage for Google Drive. Google Drive is like the attic for your classroom. You don't actually do anything there, but you keep really important things in that attic that you definitely want to hold on to. And if you want to reference the documents in Google Drive, you can always share a link within the Discord or in YouTube as well. We've got a comment from Heidi. They're saying, I'm a teacher. I set up a server for my department, hoping to get some tips. We are migrating from Slack. Much is similar, but a lot is the students already use Discord. That's a really good point that you bring up, Heidi, because I use Slack for the Art Prof staff, actually. But Slack, I think, really has much more of a corporate association that a lot of companies use it. I mean, kids that I know do not use Slack because Slack really is a job type of platform, but lots of kids are on Slack and on Discord rather. And so really by putting your courses on Discord, you're bringing the course to where the kids hang out. So that's a really good point to bring up. Okay, I will say though, no matter what platform you choose to interact with students on, if you are dealing with sensitive issues or a scenario where you need to have a paper trail that you can eventually refer to in the future, use email. And you can say that on your syllabus. You can explain to the students, listen, if it's very sensitive and we don't want it to be part of any other platform, please use email. Make that clear, because I don't know that a lot of people think about that very far in advance, but it's very important to think about. We have Levi Fiction. They are an IT guy. Oh, very cool. They are using Moodle and Google Classroom. You're pushing Google Chat, looking to learn for more options. I've used Google Chat as well. In fact, when I did a lot of teacher training workshops, I've been doing quite a bit of those recently for a bunch of colleges, I do use Google Chat, but that's a little bit easier because then they don't have to join the server. And these people, chances are, for a workshop, they're only going to see me one time. So it's different when you're trying to forge an ongoing relationship. Now, I know for a lot of people, what Discord is more typically known for, what it really started as being, was a platform that was for gamers, for people who are really into fandoms, and that's fine. And the thing is, I actually had a question from a faculty member at a training session the other day. They said, well, I don't know if I want to use Discord, because if Discord typically has been used for gaming and fandoms, doesn't that mean it's just a big dumping ground for whatever? And I said, yes, it is in some cases, but so is Facebook, so is Instagram. I mean, every platform can become a dumping ground for whatever. I think the difference is that whatever platform you choose to use as a teacher, you have to see it as a tool. I mean, you can make Discord a dumping ground for whatever if you want, but if you set it up well and you have a strategy for how you're going to use it, it can be really clean. And it's like, who cares that that's the association? As long as it's a tool that works for you, that's the most important thing to keep in mind. I know for a lot of people, security is a big concern. And I will tell you, in some of the discussions that I've had with some teachers online, there has been a lot of people very concerned about security of various platforms and everything. And I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go through and read the terms of service that each of these platforms offer. But I can tell you from my own experience, just as an internet user in general, think about which platforms you read about in the news about security issues and security breaches. For example, the term Zoom bombing, that's a phrase now because it was happening, because people were Zoom bombing these meetings. There was inappropriate content being shared. I mean, it's all over the news. Facebook, I think we know, has not been getting good press in the news in terms of how they use the content. And I'll tell you, between these three platforms, Discord, Facebook, and Zoom, I am not reading articles on the front page of the New York Times about security breaches at Discord the way I am about Facebook and Zoom. And so if you are a lawyer and you want to go and you want to read all the terms of service and all that stuff, go ahead. But I can tell you, just as a basic internet user, that's what comes to my mind when I think about security. Now, again, you do have to check with your school. Some school districts absolutely flat out won't allow certain platforms. I talked to a teacher the other day who said, yeah, my district flat out will not let us use YouTube, which makes me sad, because I'm like, that's basically saying, here's an amazing library and it's free, and by the way, you can't use it. That really bums me out a lot. But just keep that in mind. That's how I think about security in terms of the platforms, is who are we hearing about when we talk about security breaches and Zoom bombing? Let's talk a little bit about the terminology in Discord, because I think that people are finding that with each platform, you have to learn new words and understand what they mean. And the two words in Discord that I think are really important to understand, the most fundamental one, is what is the difference between a Discord account and a Discord server? These are the two words you really have to understand. Everything else will be fine, but this is fundamental, especially if you're a teacher and you want to create a space for your classroom. We do have a comment here from Blue Wolf Spirit about security. They're saying all the security issues with Discord came from vulnerabilities in some of the games, not from the platform itself. Oh, thank you very much. That's very helpful to hear about that. And Jing Jing is saying, one downside of Discord, there are sometimes server outages. They're not that common, nor are they long, but it's definitely annoying. I have not had that happen to the Art Prof Discord so far, so that's good. But it's good to know that that can happen. But I would say that that can happen with any platform. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys probably heard about that big bombing that happened with the Twitter accounts over the weekend. That was very dramatic. And so I think that just comes with the field, I think, in terms of doing that. And Blue Will Spirit is also saying, biggest security issue with Discord and compliance deals with the lack of encryption of messages, may not apply to people in teaching that does not require certain compliance. Thank you so much. Wow, this is really, really helpful to have all this information. So the difference is you can have a Discord account and you put in your email and a password and stuff like that. But just because you have an account, you're not actually in a server. You have to join a server. So a server is like a different space. So you could say you're in the Art Prof server, you're in the Concord Artists server, you're in the Waltham Artists server. And so you can have one Discord account, but be in as many servers as you want. I mean, I'm only in one, but my husband's in like 20. So that's what's sort of nice about it, is that it's one account, but you can join all these different servers that serve completely different purposes. I mean, he has some servers that are for gaming. He's got servers like he's in Art Prof. And so I find it really nice because you can be a part of all these different spaces, but it's one login. You don't have to do multiple logins to do it. Let's talk about some of my favorite aspects of Discord. These are really the features that made me want to move over. There are many of them, but these are the ones that I think are the most compelling from the point of view of a teacher. The main difference, I think, in terms of the flow of communication, and you guys in the chat can tell me what you think about this as well, because everybody has a different take on it. The way I would describe Discord, it's a continuous chat. It's where you hang out. For example, after our live streams here at Art Prof, I tell people, hey, come over to the Art Prof Discord. I'm going to be hanging out in this channel and let's come and chat. It's super fun. It's like a post-stream chat party and everybody's there and we're all typing simultaneously. And we have enough of an audience here at Art Prof that the messages are, going up really, really quickly. And sometimes we're talking about Alice in Wonderland while also talking about security in internet platforms at the same time. And so that is something that occurs on Discord that does not occur on Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, in a group or wherever you're posting, what is a more common rhythm is that people will post and then they leave. They don't hang out. That's a big difference. And I think that with teachers, if you're really trying to get engagement with students, that interaction is a big difference, because when you just write something and then you get up and leave, there's a fragmentation there that happens in terms of the communication. Whereas in the post live stream channel where I go after these live streams, I'm sometimes in there for a good 40 minutes. That's a continuous 40 minutes with which I am engaging with the community that you're not going to have on Facebook and Instagram. And with Facebook, people will post, they'll leave, and then they come back and they check. And so it's very cut up. It's not continuous at all. And to me, that is very compelling. We got a comment from Dusty. As a gamer, it's so sweet to hear an older person talk about Discord. Well, you know what's going to happen? All of us old farts, we're all going to come over to Discord and we're going to make it not cool to be there. And then you're all going to leave. So, I mean, that's basically what happened, I think, with Facebook. So we'll see if we run out all of you younger gamer people. Another reason I really like Discord, and this is especially compelling for student privacy, is how people present themselves within Discord. So for example, if you're in a Discord server and you click on somebody's profile picture, very little information about them pops up. For example, they have a username, and teachers, you will have to figure out how to navigate that, because chances are your students in high school and college, they probably already have a Discord account, and most likely it's not their real name. It's probably something like Kitty 18 or whatever. And so you're going to probably have to compile a list of who is what username. The other option is to say set up another Discord account, but that's sort of annoying because then it's like you have to log in and out of different accounts if they use Discord for something else. So it's a little bit of extra work for the teachers to keep that list of who is who in the server. But after a while, and after you spend a lot of time in here, you're going to start remembering who the people are. So I think that's okay. Now, you have to keep that in mind. And I think ultimately that's fine. But what's cool about this, that's all you know about that person. It's very limited information. And I know from talking to students in the spring semester that a lot of students really felt extremely uncomfortable with the way that a lot of teachers really made them feel uncomfortable about boundaries and privacy online. And I think as teachers, we really have to be respectful of that, that if a student doesn't want to reveal things about themselves, we should not be putting them in a situation where they feel that they have to do that. Even little things, showing the background of the room that you're in, for a lot of students, that really felt like an invasion of privacy. And so I like the fact that when you get on Discord, there's very little that you find out about people. Oh, Jing Jing has a great suggestion, and I did not know this. They're saying students can set their server nicknames as their own names. That is so cool. Thank you so much. Well, teachers, now we got a solution. So thank goodness you guys are all here helping me out with this stream. So here's the thing. If you guys are creating a Facebook group for your class, there's a huge temptation to snoop. I mean, why wouldn't you? That's the whole point of the internet most of the time, right? And so if you create a Facebook group and your students have Facebook profiles, chances are they have their photos from spring break, they have a list of their favorite movies, and that gets awkward after a little while, because then after a little bit, you start learning things about each other that you almost wish you didn't know. And I think the same thing happens with Instagram, that if you have an Instagram chat with students, inevitably you're going to end up looking at their photo feed. And it really depends, because some students use Instagram as a personal page, other people it's an art page, other people it's a memes page. I mean, it really varies. And so when you have Discord, you don't have that snooping behind the scenes about all of those different aspects of student lives. Let's see. Heidi is saying people can change their nickname in a specific server. Maybe someone who has used Discord longer could tell me. Yeah, maybe after the stream, because I don't actually know how to do that, Heidi, but that's a really great solution. I'm so glad that you guys brought that up. Okay, now Facebook groups, I know a lot of teachers use these in the spring, and it makes sense to me because a lot of people who are teachers and professors tend to be over the age of 40, and my generation and older, they're all on Facebook. And I actually was trying to get one of my friends to join Instagram because I was like, I never see your baby photos. They're like, oh, but Facebook is it for me. And so I understand why older people want to stay on Facebook. But I'll tell you, the Facebook groups for me are so frustrating. I think the search function is really wonky. I think it's really hard to find a post that you're looking for. I mean, I feel like half the posts in Facebook groups are saying, I'm looking for a post a few weeks ago that was about this. And it's like, we don't have that problem in Discord because there are search functions that are just so much easier to do. And so get rid of Facebook groups, guys. You just really, really do not need it. Another function is that within Discord, you get to organize the content by categories. So for example, a category that you might have in a channel is community. And within that category, you can create channels that are related to this idea of community. So for example, under community, some of the channels we might have is art history, video suggestions, social, self-promotions. And so it's really nice, I think, to have those multiple tiers because the category tells you the broader picture of the subject, but then each channel is its own space when you want to get more specific. For example, in Art Prof, we have one channel that's for art history. We have another one for contemporary art. And that makes a really big difference to be able to separate those things in that way. One thing I do like about Discord too is when you post a link, it shows a preview image. And that's really nice because it's easier to see the link. And if you don't like the preview, you can just get rid of it. So that's a very flexible thing you can do. And also, I really like the pinned messages. For example, if you have certain rules or guidelines that you want people to follow in a particular channel, you can make a message in that channel and you can pin it. So that way it's super easy for people to say, I don't remember what the rules are for this channel. Oh, I'll just go and I'll read the pinned message. So you just go to the top, you just tap on the pin icon, and then the pinned message pops up. So you can see in the general channel, I just say, hi, welcome to the Art Prof Discord server. This is where we want you to hang out and be a big art nerd. And so these pinned messages, they're so easy to find. And I think as a teacher, if you have guidelines, things you want students to remember or to think about, or particular types of content you want them to post or not to post, a pinned message is a really good way to get that across. You can post images so easily. It's like 2 clicks. And for studio teachers, you're going to want students to be uploading pictures continuously throughout the semester. The other thing that's really nice with Discord is that it's got a great mobile app that's easy to navigate. And I think I've said this before in other streams that most students will look at content on their phones before their laptops. And that is a generational difference because most of the time I'm on my laptop. When I'm on my phone, I tend to be doing more casual social things. But I think for a lot of students, the opposite. I think they're on their phone more than they're on their laptop. Those of you who are younger, under the age of 40, tell me, are you on your phone more than you're on your laptop? Because I do think that from what I've observed, that does seem to be the case. And another cool thing is if you want to, say, reference a post that somebody made, you can actually copy the message link. And then that link will pop up. You can tap on it and you can see what the original message was. So you can say, oh, I noticed that this person said this. And maybe you're the teacher and you're mentioning something that a student said to your teaching assistant. And so that's so easy to go back and reference those different things. Cato is saying, I work for a small art studio, now with Zoom and Buddy Boss groups for each class. Interested because I heard about it from watching Art Prof videos. Well, I think you're going to find that it really is so useful for studio art, especially, and that it does not have to be that complicated. What I put together for you guys in this stream that we're going to go over everything, I'm giving you the bare bones version of Discord that will work for a studio art teacher. For example, my husband, who helped me set up the Art Prof Discord, he's like a Discord genius. He can do all these super fancy things and program bots to do all these things. I'm like, no. The teachers do not want that information. They just want to get what they can get for their classes, and that's it. And so that's what I'm going to give you guys. I'm not going to give you the really fancy version that would, for a lot of people, I think, be extremely intimidating. Yeah, Jing is saying, I'm guilty of being on my phone more than my laptop, but the phone thing means I can check servers at any time. That's another reason I'm telling a lot of teachers, look, whatever platform you use, make sure that platform has a good app, because some of these platforms have really wonky apps. And I'll tell you, when you have an app like YouTube, which is used so much by millions of people, it has to be a good app. It has to be well maintained. Whereas if you have a smaller learning management system that's not used by millions and millions of people, they don't tend to be as well put together. And so that's why I really am advocating for these larger platforms. Heidi's saying, I'm wondering if I can have a survey for people who join my server. They have to fill it out in order to join. That would help me know what role to assign each person. You probably can do something like that. I don't know about that right now in terms of within Discord, but maybe you could do a Google form in advance. I mean, I guess it depends on what type of class you're teaching, because I'm actually going to show you guys later, but I created an Art Prof Discord server template that all of you guys can use, and it'll save you hours of time setting up your server. Oh, here we go. Here's my husband. He's in here saying, server template that I helped set up has a welcome channel. New members can't see who's in the server until the teacher or admin gives them a role. Good to keep strangers out. Great. Excellent. Okay. You can also ping people. So for example, if you are replying directly to somebody's question, you just do their username, you just do @. And once you start typing a couple of letters, it starts showing you users that have similar names. And so you don't have to memorize anybody's username. It just pops up because once you start typing a little bit, it'll do that. The one thing I will say though, is that you don't always want to ping people, because the thing about pinging people is that they get a notification. And sometimes when I'm in the Art Prof Discord, I'll talk about one of the staff. I'll mention Jordan McCracken Foster. I'll say, oh, Jordan had this video he did the other day, and maybe you want to check it out. Jordan does not need a notification about that. I mean, it's fine if I wanted to, but it's like, you don't really have to give that person that notification. So I would just say, keep in mind, it's not always a great idea to ping people unless you really actively are trying to reply to what they're saying or really want a particular reply. And this is a really good suggestion that I said earlier. Blue Will Spirit is saying a good way to get used to Discord is by using the Art Prof one like tonight after the live stream. Yes, because the thing is, I don't think if you're a teacher, you want your very first Discord experience to be the beginning of your class. Come hang out in the Art Prof Discord, talk to people, have conversations, see what it feels like. You're going to feel so much more prepared when you get in there, and then the learning curve is not going to be as high. The other thing, we're so helpful at Art Prof. I mean, like, look at how helpful everybody in the live stream is being right now. And if you guys have questions, teachers, you guys can come in and just ask us, and we're happy to do that. Heidi's asking about how to access the template. It is in the video description below. There is the link, and I'm going to show it to you guys so you can see exactly what the Art Prof Discord template comes with. So just stick around and you guys will get all that information. And Heidi's also saying, can I apply it to the one I have, or I do have to start over? That might be a question for Alex Hart. So we'll see. Thank goodness we have some people in here who know way more about Discord than me. Okay. All right. The search function in Discord is so much better than Facebook. Facebook drives me insane. I can never find stuff on Facebook. Half the time I type something and I can't find it. So what's cool about this, if you look at the search function, you can search messages that are from a particular user. You can search when a user has been mentioned. You can look for posts that have a link that were from a specific date, that were during a specific date, after. You can search by what was in a particular channel. And that's so specific, it makes it really easy to find what it is you're looking for. Another option for Discord is you have direct messages. And these are really helpful because oftentimes as a teacher, you don't want to say something in front of the other students in a public channel. Then you have the opportunity to send them a private message within Discord, because I'll tell you guys, students, they don't check email. I mean, if I send a student an email, it could be a month before I get a reply. I mean, sure, there are some students that check email, but most of them do not. It's not reliable. So that's why I was saying earlier, it's much better when you communicate with your students, do it in this one place in Discord. So they know, okay, here's where I get my direct messages. Here's where I get my announcements. Here's where we do our critiques. Here's where we do our one-on-one meetings. You consolidate all interaction into a single platform. That is really going to work better. So for example, here's a direct message between me and my daughter. I'm telling her she's such a weirdo. So you can do that if you want. And I know that many Discord servers, including the Art Prof one, have moderators, people whose roles are to look at the channels, look at the posts, make sure people are behaving appropriately. You guys who are in the Art Prof Discord, you know that we are heavily moderated, and we get good results because of that, because we keep all the inappropriate content out there when people are behaving poorly. We make sure that we're on top of that. Now, I know a lot of people are concerned about that because if you're a teacher, you don't have moderators. I mean, I suppose if you have a teaching assistant, you could ask them to be a moderator, but I know not every single teacher has that. But I think if you have one server per class, unless you're teaching a 300 student lecture class, you probably don't need a moderator because, for example, most of my classes at RISD, the biggest classes I ever taught were 20 students. And when you have 20 students, I think that's pretty manageable. Now, the Art Prof Discord has over 1,400 people. We definitely need moderators. But for a teacher, I think you're probably going to be okay. And I would also say you can add to your syllabus that if you behave badly or post inappropriate content in the class Discord, that it will affect your grade. I think that's totally fair to say that. So I would not be worried about that. Slepnir is saying this is a nicer way to learn Discord rather than going in blind. It took me a while to figure it out. Well, you know what's something, Slepnir? I actually felt that I cheated a little bit because Alex, my husband, he set up the Art Prof Discord. And so I did not know how to set up a server until last night when I did it by myself. And it took a while, but you know what? It was good because I feel that I really understand the platform better now. And I can explain it to teachers and tell them what they really need to know. Okay, here are the different functions of Discord. If I were teaching a studio art class, I would want to set up. Of course, it completely varies from teacher to teacher and how your school is set up, what age group you're doing. But these are the basics that I think your average studio art teacher is going to want to know about. I know for some teachers, there's a lot of concern about getting to know students and formulating a strong enough connection with them. Because in the spring, I had a good 5 weeks with my RISD students in person. And so while it was really not fun to get up and leave, I did have face-to-face time with them for a couple weeks. The concern about the fall that is really hard for a lot of teachers is that you're probably going to be teaching students that you've never met in real life and maybe never will, depending on how the situation pans out. And so I do think for that reason, it is important to set up some sort of social interaction that you can have not only with the students as a teacher, but between the students. So the students within the same class have that social space to interact, because that was one of the #1 complaints that I got from a lot of the high school and college students that I met was they said, you know, I really felt that I didn't get to see what the other students were doing. I didn't get to interact with them very much. And so having social channels that are just text channels, those are really, really helpful. And so we put them under community, and that's just a place to do whatever. I mean, you can go in there and say, hey guys, I watched Jane Eyre with Michael Fassbender every night this past week. What do you guys think about that? That is not a lie. But anyway, you can say silly things like that, and it's fine because it's a social channel. You create that space for the students so they feel safe doing that. You also can have, for example, a self-promotion channel, and that is so helpful because I think inevitably people like to share what's going on in their lives. In the case of an art Discord, a lot of people want to show their Instagram, they want to show what work they're doing, maybe they're in an exhibition or something, and that's great. But the thing is, if you don't create a self-promotion channel, what ends up happening is people start spamming all the channels, and then all your channels get bogged down by these self-promotion posts. And so the self-promotion channel is really nice because you just consolidate all of that information into a single place. And I really think that even in a high school art class, this would be really good to have. Like maybe you're having an online show, or maybe you put together a literary magazine with your friends and you want to share it with people in the class. I think this would be really, really nice to do. You can also have a memes channel, and Alex Hart will back me up on this because I'm not into memes. Okay, I know I'm old. Okay, I know the younger people love the memes and everything. And when Alex told me, he's like, we need to have a memes channel. And Lauren Welch, one of the teaching artists, she said the same thing. She's like, we definitely need memes in the Discord. I mean, as the old fart I am, I just rolled my eyes and went, oh, why do we need a memes channel? This is so stupid. Here's why you need a memes channel. because, like the self-promotion channel, it keeps the other channels clean. So the people who want to go see the memes and who truly like those can go there and see them. But then you don't end up with memes in inappropriate places, like where you're trying to remind people about a deadline. And so these channels consolidate content that I think inevitably students want to put into the Discord because it makes it more fun for them. It's a more lively, friendly place. If you don't have channels like this, your Discord server, from a teacher point of view, it's going to feel very cold and academic and detached. And I think that is the last thing that the students want. We have a comment here from Sheila. They're teaching 4 sections of high school art. Would each class of 30 students be one server, or would each period be its own server? So I'd have to post the same thing 4 different times. I would recommend, Sheila, one server per section. So you would have 4 servers. And I think that's the best way to organize it, because you probably don't want to post, well, oh, I see what you're saying. So if you have 4 servers, you post the same thing 4 times. I suppose if you wanted to, you could have one server for the exact same class, and you could have each category be a different section and set up channels within there. I mean, that's another way to do it. I suppose it depends on the numbers. You have to see how that functions as a dynamic. But let's do the rest of the stream, and maybe we can talk about that again once you've seen all the other things. Heidi is saying, I'm going to have one server for multiple classes and multiple instructors. Courses will each have specific roles, so only people in the class can be in class-specific conversations. Yeah, there's so many ways that you guys can organize this. It just depends on the numbers and your needs as an artist. Okay, the other thing that's really nice to have under community is a channel for server feedback. And this is so important, teachers, because you know something? Last semester, I had a lot of students complaining to me about major problems that teachers were making teaching remotely that honestly did not have to be that difficult. And I said to the students, I was like, listen, if it's such a problem, why can't you just tell the teacher to change it? And they would say to me, well, number one, I'm really intimidated. I don't want to criticize the teacher. And second of all, I'm worried if I criticize them, they're going to lower my grade. And when I thought about it the way, I thought, oh, okay, that really makes sense. So if, as the teacher, you create a channel that is specifically asking for server feedback, a student doesn't feel awkward saying, hey, would you mind adding a channel for this? Or, hey, I'm noticing that this is not working very well. Can we change this? And so it's all about offering spaces that make students comfortable to have these conversations. Because I'll tell you, I'm also talking to teachers who are saying things to me like, my students love Canvas. It's their favorite platform. And I said, did you ask them that? I don't know that you can assume Canvas is their favorite platform unless they're all telling you that. And honestly, I think a lot of it is students just don't want to be criticizing teachers. So having server feedback is really, really important. Okay, now the other thing that I know a lot of studio teachers are needing to do is group critiques, where you want them to be synchronous. And so what's great about Discord is you have something called a voice channel. There's 2 different kinds of channels. There's a text channel where you just type stuff in, post links, post pictures. And there's also a voice channel, which is a completely different thing. So you can use a voice channel for the group critique. So here's how that works. If you want to have a synchronous group critique, you're in the voice channel. And this is my recommendation. I've spoken about this in prior streams. Put the teacher on video so they see your face. Put all students on audio. I think we know what Zoom fatigue is. And honestly, I think a lot of that is seeing a grid of faces and having to stare at the laptop like that is exhausting. And also, again, it's that privacy issue with students. When you put them on audio, they're way more comfortable. They're actually more likely to pay attention if you put them on audio than if you put them on video, because chances are they're probably like texting their friends anyway. Yeah, Dusty is saying, I know absolutely no one who ever liked Canvas, ever. Yeah, actually, I was talking to somebody in the Art Prof Discord today, and they said, yeah, I have never liked those learning management systems that those schools adopt. And it's frustrating because the schools, for obvious reasons, want the faculty and students to use those LMS platforms. But the thing is, they're oftentimes not that good. And so it really is not very helpful. So do the synchronous group critiques in a voice channel, and this is how it works. So if you guys look at the bottom, that is a voice channel. The one thing you need to know about the voice channel is that you cannot record anything. It's not like Zoom, it's not like Skype, it's not the same thing. You can't record things, okay? But if you're doing a group critique or you're having a one-on meeting with a student, there's no reason that you would need to record that. And by the way, don't do live demos in Discord. That is a bad idea. That's what YouTube is for. And if you want to know about that, watch some of my other streams where I do discuss that. So that's the voice channel. And you want to make sure that you have a category, like at the bottom, it says voice channels. So everything that's in there, everything that's associated with the voice channel is really helpful. And you can actually put a text channel that accompanies the voice channel. So for example, if we're critiquing something, we can all be hanging out in the voice channel together and we'll all agree, okay, this is the group critique text channel. So you can post your images in that channel and I can be on the voice channel at the same time. It's fantastic. It's really, really nice that you can do it that way. So what you do is you just click on the voice channel and this pops up, this little green text. It says voice connected. And so what you want to do next is then you tap on the video and that then opens the video. So you end up like that. Now, if it's a class of students, it'll be a big grid, assuming that everybody's on video. But if you're the only person on video, that's what it's going to look like. And then usually there's like little icons so you can see who's in there. So it'll be like a list of all the profile pictures of the people who are in there. So as a teacher, very easy to keep track of who's actually in there. And then you don't have to worry about looking at that gigantic grid at the same time. Yeah, this is a really good point from Levi Fiction. Recording makes FERPA a potential headache. Keep your student records to what you absolutely need. Yeah, I'm just not comfortable recording students in general. It just doesn't rub me the right way. And so I would never want to do that to begin with. I don't mind recording myself. That's fine. But I just don't feel good about asking students to do that. And then when you want to end your chat, you just tap on that X with the phone icon, and then you're done. That's it. So here's the thing. A lot of people, I think, have gotten really accustomed to Zoom because Zoom was really the platform that everybody was using in the spring because a lot of the schools gave it to the teachers. And I think what's happened now is because teachers have a lot of experience with Zoom, they feel very attached to Zoom for good reason. I mean, that makes sense. Of course, you're going to be more attached to the platform that you know better. It's a lot friendlier because you don't have such a high learning curve. But the thing is, if you use Zoom, it's such a limited platform. There's so few things you can do. You really can only do video conferencing. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, but I did these live demos on Zoom. It's not good, guys. To me, if you use Zoom for all these other functions, it's like saying, oh, well, why should I use a hammer to hit a nail when I could use an apple? I'm like, why would you want to use an apple? Okay, a hammer is better. A hammer is made to hit a nail. That's what you guys want to be using. So the thing is, if you have Discord, you can not do Zoom anymore. You can just use the voice channels. And the cool thing about the voice channel is when you're in there, you don't have to set up a meeting. You don't have to set a password. You just say, okay, at 1 o'clock, everybody come have a group critique in the voice channel. And that's it. They just click on it. They're in there. It's so easy. It's very, very little setup. In Zoom, I had to schedule a meeting. I had to set the date. I had to make a meeting password. I had to enable the waiting room. I had to do all these extra things. This is just an announcement. Come here, click, you're in. So nice and easy. Okay, now the other thing you can do is have students post their artwork for critique. And what I'm advocating is for teachers who are doing a hybrid model, that the critiques in Discord should be ongoing all the time. So people are just always posting works in progress, finished pieces, sketches, brainstorming. So you have a really good continuous flow of content, because that then I think inspires students to engage more. If you say, just post your finished piece, there's going to be no post. There's going to be a post like once every 3 weeks, which is not good. So if you just say to the students, look, post everything, post your thumbnail sketch, post the underpainting, post the painting after 2 hours, you post the projects at multiple stages, enables everybody to see a lot of information. Heidi is asking, how many people can be in a voice channel at a time? I don't know what the limit is, but I know at one point I definitely had at least 10 people. So it's definitely not like 3 or something like that, but maybe somebody can look that up and see what's going on. Jingjing is saying, I take a figure drawing class that uses Zoom. Teacher demos on one window while the live model is on another window. It's such a headache to try to look at both windows. Yep, Zoom is not set up for that because you can't customize anything. What I'm telling teachers to do is to live stream on OBS, because that is live streaming software, and then streaming to YouTube. Same thing. It's like, why are we insisting so hard on trying to do everything on Zoom when Zoom really does not do those things well? Like, just because you know it and it's wonky doesn't mean you should keep using it. I mean, again, if you really don't want to change, that's ultimately everybody's decision. But in my opinion, the amount of time it takes you to learn these other tools that are actually made for these purposes is really going to be a lot better. Okay, good. We've got some answers about the voice channel. Teresia says, I think it's about 40. Dusty says, I think it's no limit to voice, but 50 for video. Great. And Alex is saying, strangers can't join your voice channel if you use our template, the ArtProf template, because access to all channels other than welcome must be given by the teacher. That's extra helpful. And Soraya is saying it was 200 people at the same time, if I remember. Okay, I think you guys are good because I don't think most of us are leading group critiques with 100 students. Okay. Now, in the critique channels, you can organize it any way you want, but I can tell you if I were teaching, I would probably have one channel per project. So let's say you have a self-portrait channel. And so the thumbnail sketch for the self-portrait, maybe a reference photo, maybe your first pass, maybe then you blocking it in. So everybody sees everybody's work that's being made for that particular project. And then you don't have to search for things. Now, the other cool thing is that it's so easy to post images. It's just like click, click, and on the phone is just as easy. So it is not difficult to do. And then it's really good to have text channels that are specifically for announcements and reminders. And we did set this up in the ArtProf Discord template this way. So you guys will get this if you use our template. So you would have, for example, a news channel where you want to tell students, this is due on Thursday, here's a reminder. Now, the difference here, students cannot post in these news channels because you want to keep them clean. If you post a reminder for a project deadline and all of a sudden students are asking you questions and making comments, that announcement for that deadline is going to get buried so fast. And so that's what's really nice is you can just post these things and know nobody's going to reply, and therefore it's so much more visible and easy to see. Another thing you can do, and I really think teachers, if you can, I know not everybody can, it depends on the size of your school and your budget, but if you can have one-on-one check-in calls with students or even one-on-one critiques every now and then, you can do those in the voice channel as well. And so that's so helpful. And if you want to make it a little bit more even, I do think for a one-on-one call with a student, I would rather have both of us on audio. Because here's the thing, if I'm running a group critique and there's 4 students, they're on audio, I'm on video, that dynamic makes sense to me, okay? But when it's one-on-one, just the teacher and just one student, it feels a little weird for me to be on video and for them to be on audio. I just feel like it makes more sense if there's just a collective agreement that when we have a one-on-one call, we're both on audio. I just think there just were so many issues last semester with some students were on video, some were not, some had backgrounds, and it was just so confusing. And the students really didn't like it. And actually, one of my students said she started psychoanalyzing who was on camera, who had a background, who was on audio. And it invites so much stuff that I just don't think we need right now. Teresia is saying you can also give people certain tags which can allow them access to certain voice channels and text channels, even the ability to hide channels for only persons who have permission. Yeah, I mean, in terms of permissions on Discord, you guys can eat your heart out. I'm giving you the bare bones scenario because I know from speaking to a lot of teachers, a lot of people are very overwhelmed. I know the teachers are very stressed out. There's a lot of unpredictability right now. Many school districts have not made concrete announcements about their plans for the fall. And so I just think the more streamlined and simple you can begin Discord with, that's great. And then maybe as you get more comfortable, you can start searching for that more complicated stuff. But honestly, the ArtProf Discord server template, it's really good. Alex made it. So I think you guys will be totally fine. Alex is saying that our server template also allows the teacher to ping at everyone, but does not allow students to do so. That's a good idea because students inevitably will be tempted by that tag. Okay. And then another thing you can do with the voice channel, if you want to have office hours. I did that in the spring at RISD, where I said to the students, okay, on Tuesday nights from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I will be available for office hours. And it was nice. And I did have students stop by and we had fun conversations. And sometimes students wanted to talk about the class. Sometimes we talked about hot white men because, you know, that's relevant to drawing too. Of course it is. But anyway, the point is that voice channel, wow, you can use it for so many things. You use it for the group critiques, for the one-on-one calls, for virtual office hours. It's all in one platform. No Zoom calls, no meetings to set up. It's just meet me in that voice channel at 8 o'clock. Really helpful. Okay, so there's the voice channel where you would, again, hold some of those office hours. Synchronous office hours. This one, too, you probably would run like a group critique where you are on video, and let's say there are 5 students hanging out there with you. You ask them to all be on audio. I think just having an agreement in advance. All right, I'm going to walk you guys through how to create an account because I know a lot of people are wondering about the difference between an account and a server. And I think this will clear this up pretty well. And I am going to show you how to set things up from scratch, just so you know how to edit things. Because inevitably, even if you use the ArtProf Discord template, there's probably going to be something you want to adjust. And so I think it would be good for you guys to see, okay, how do I add a new role? How do I change these pictures? Because I don't want you using the ArtProf Discord template totally blind. I think you should know how to make some of those changes. Yep, Jumping Spider saying, can you show the steps from the beginning, setting up Discord using your template? I'm going to show that as well. So this is going to be a long stream, but we're going to go over everything. Okay. So to create an account, go to Discord. That's pretty easy. And you want to tap on login. And if you don't have an account already, you need to register. This is pretty straightforward. You do this on most sites. So you enter your email, you make a username, password, date of birth, continue. Pretty straightforward. And you have different options to create a server. You can create it with a template, and Discord has many templates. The ArtProf Discord template is one we made particularly for studio art teachers, but there's so many. I mean, there's ones for gaming, there's ones for fandoms. I mean, each are hard out as far as the number of templates that are available. And so when you want to create your first server, which is what happens, it prompts you when you create an account, is you can choose to start from the template. And you can see they have ones for gaming, they have ones for friends and study group, or the one at the top, which is you can create your own server from scratch. So there's a lot of options. And so here's the Discord server template. The link is in the video description below. So what you would want to do is make sure you have an account first in Discord, and then you just go to our server template link, and it'll set you up from there. It'll look like this. So you'll come to this page. It'll say, create a server based on Art Prof Studio art class. So we explain that it's a private channel for the teacher and teaching assistant, welcome channel to enforce privacy, give new members a role to add them to class, okay? So that's just a brief description. I'm gonna show you guys every feature that our server template has, but that's what would happen is you would just go in here, you would create a server in that way. So here's what we've set up for you guys in the Art Prof Discord template. We have a private channel at the top that is only for the teacher and the teaching assistant. Now, some teachers, you may not have a teaching assistant, and that's fine. You don't need it. You can get rid of it if you want, but it is helpful because I know there are some people who have student teachers or teaching assistants. That is nice to have that private space because sometimes you need to have a conversation with your teaching assistant that you don't want the rest of the class to know about. Also, you can assign a role to people when they enter the server. So when they enter your server, they have to come into the welcome channel. There's no other option. They just go in there. And then as people enter the welcome channel, you give them a role. So if you give them a role, you say, okay, this person's a student, this person is a teaching assistant, and that's how you let them in. So that's like another layer of security, I think. I mean, first of all, you just don't give the invite link to anybody. I mean, that's the biggest security as far as keeping it private and not sharing it with the public. And I'll show you guys what that invite looks like later. But this is specific to the Art Prof Discord that may not be in other things. Okay, now you should definitely have in the server template that we're going to give you guys announcement channels. These are the ones I talked about earlier. Though the channels where only the teacher can post. Students cannot post, they cannot reply, they're just there for announcements. Community channels, these are the ones that I talked about earlier. So social, memes, self-promotion, server feedback. If art history and contemporary art is a part of your course, which it probably is, we've set those up for you. FAQ is also helpful if people are lost on Discord and you've got a certain number of FAQs that maybe you want to put in there so people understand. If you want to have a questions channel, if students can just come in and say, hey, where do I find this? Then you can lump that into one place. And this is not necessary, but you can have one for post live streams. So if you're a teacher and you do a live stream, you can say, everybody come hang out in the Discord in this channel afterwards. That's what we do here at Art Prof. It's fun. It's like a really cool after party. That's really, really good. Soraya is asking, do you all know about privacy for the users? Maybe you can clarify, Soraya. I'm not totally clear of what you're asking. So if you could clarify, that would be very helpful. And Teresia is saying, I intend to send this to my teachers. Hopefully it can help out our school. I knew about Discord before as a gamer, but people shy away from it without fully understanding it. Well, it's overwhelming. I think a lot of teachers were being asked to learn so much, so fast, with so little time. And it was very stressful. The spring was so hard for all the teachers, I mean, and the students combined for sure. And I know that teachers are exhausted. And I know the thought of, oh my God, are you kidding? I got to learn another thing is exhausting. But I think long-term, taking the time to do this you'll reap the rewards later. Like it will definitely pay off. And honestly, I'm going to show you guys everything. If you just do this tutorial, you're done. You won't have to do anything beyond this. Okay. So you also can set up critique channels. And like I said before, you can create by project. So maybe one channel is interior space drawing. One channel is self-portrait drawing. One is chiaroscuro drawing, however you guys want to do that. And art supply channels, oftentimes there are questions about supplies. So maybe somebody wants tips on something. Hey, what's the best brand for colored pencil? Any recommendations? Or, hey, I'm really having trouble getting this ink to be a little bit more viscous. I got a question about that. Maybe you're going to put that in techniques. So it's really nice to be able to consolidate all those things in one area. You also have your voice channel. So we've set those up for you. And what you guys can see is we've created a voice channel that is accompanied by a text channel. So for example, there is a voice channel for group critiques, and there is a text channel that is called Group Critique Chat. So in that text channel is where a student would post a picture of their artwork. While people are in the voice channel, you can look at that picture of the artwork and talk about it at the same time. So we did the same thing. There's a one-on-one meetings voice channel that's accompanied by a text channel. So if I'm talking to a student, talking to Sarah, I say, Sarah, can you show me the drawing you did last week? Sarah can say, yep, I'm going to put it in the one-on-one meeting chat. There it is. And then we know very quickly where to find things. Sheila is asking, if I assign a student a third period role, so they go in the third period channel, but then they switch classes to seventh period, can I change their role so they go into their new proper channel? Absolutely. That's really easy to do. And I'm going to show you guys how to change the roles. Okay. Now I'm going to show you briefly how to create a server from scratch. Now, for those of you who want to use the Art Prof Discord template, not everything I'm going to tell you here you're going to have to do. In fact, most of it you won't. But if you want to be able to edit anything, this part is necessary, because chances are the Art Prof Discord is not perfect. For example, I don't know what all your projects are. So of course, you're going to want to know, how do I edit the name of a channel? How do I change the role? How do I add a role? So even though you may not actually have to do this beginning to end, you're going to want to watch this so you understand how to make changes. Teresia is saying, I think it'd be more appropriate, give the students a general role, lock and unlock channels when it's time to switch channels. I agree with that. I think that would be a lot easier. I think the other way around might get very confusing. So I think this would be a little bit better. Soraya is saying, does each user can access private info of the other, such as email? I got a problem between students harassing each other. Oh no, that's terrible. No, they can't access it, because basically when you tap on somebody's profile picture, the only thing that shows up, their username, their profile picture, and their role. That's it. You cannot find any other information about them. So that is a really nice thing about Discord, is that you can't get that extra information. So much better. All right, so let's create a server from scratch. So let's pretend you created your account. You're at this page here. Then it's going to tell you create your first Discord server. You're going to tap on create your own. And it's going to ask you to upload a picture. It's going to ask you to make a server name. So you might say Professor Lieu Drawing 2, however you want to call it. So add in that information. And then it just says to start a conversation. What's a topic your group likes? So for example, if it's drawing class, I hope they like drawing. If they're in a drawing class, I would put that in. And then you get to invite your students. So what you do is when you go into this newly created server, it's empty. There's nothing in it right now. It gives you this menu. It says, welcome to Prof Lieu Drawing 2, which is a server. And it gives you the option that says, invite your friends. Now, of course, your students are not your, quote, friends, but that's how they refer to them in Discord. So that's how you invite your students. That then takes you to this page. It says, invite friends to the Prof Lieu Drawing 2 server. And it says, share this link with others to grant access to your server. So you just get an invite link, you copy it, and you share it only with your students. Don't share it with anybody else. That is, to me, the best way to keep people out, because if nobody has that link, they can't access that server, and you can't like search for a server, I think, unless you make it public. So keep that in mind. This is a really good way to do that. Okay, now what you want to do next, you have to make sure you do this. Okay, I almost did not do this. So please make sure you don't forget this thing. There's a little checkbox. It says set this link to never expire, because if you don't do that, up above, it says your invite link expires in 1 day. So that's only if you want to give people 24 hours and that's it. But you never know. As a teacher, you might have a student who registers late. You might have somebody who joins the school district 2 months later. So I think it's much better set the invite link so that it never expires and it's a permanent link. Sheila is saying, but can the students private DM each other and harass each other that way? And thank you, Dusty, for saying, yes, they can, but you can block people really easily. Yep. So it's very easy to get rid of people. I think the anonymity thing in terms of no email, no Facebook profile, no Instagram feed, you don't learn much about people unless they want to. And if they want to know about each other, if I was a student in the class and I wanted to get to know Sarah better, I might send Sarah a DM over Discord and say, hey, can I follow you on Instagram? And then they can do it on their own accord. They're not forced to share their Instagram or Facebook in the context of an academic classroom. Okay. You want to create roles. The roles in the Art Prof Discord template, they're made for you already. So you guys don't have to worry about that if you use our template, but you might decide later, maybe you want to add more. So if you want to create a role, you want to go to the upper left-hand corner, just click on that little arrow, and that allows you to go to this menu where there are all these different options. You can invite people, you can make a channel. You want to go to server settings. And under server settings, you will find roles on the left-hand side. You want to tap on that. And you will see there's a little plus sign. It's a little hard to see on my screen, but you just click on the plus sign and then you can add a new role. And then on the right-hand side, there's a little text box. You can write the name of the role. So you could say student is a role, teacher is a role, teaching assistant is a role, student teacher is a role, whatever role you guys want to make up. You can set a role color, and these are fun because it makes it easy to identify who people are right away. For example, at Art Prof, I get my own special color because I'm the Art Prof. So I'm the only person in the Art Prof Discord who gets to be red in terms of my name, because red is my favorite color. You know, everybody else has different roles, but so it's nice to have those colors because you can very quickly figure, oh, that person's a student. Oh, that person's a teacher. It's just really helpful to do that. Sheila is asking if they're in the same class, they both need to participate for the entire length of the class. Would blocking them kick them out of the server? I don't think it's the same thing. I think you can block different ways. Like I think if you block two students from DMing each other, they're still in the server. And so there are probably different ways to block. I'd have to look that up, Sheila, because I don't have a lot of experience doing that. But I don't think blocking is the same thing as kicking them out entirely. But again, you can put policies into your syllabus and say, listen, you cannot behave this way. And if you harass other students in the server, that's going to dock your grade. I think be really clear about that their behavior online is a reflection of their academic performance. Really, really important. Okay, so you have, say, a student role, which is now green. And you can have a teacher role, which is now pink. And so that is very helpful when you are looking at the messages. Okay, now there are all these different permissions. If you're the teacher and you're in charge of the server, you want to be able to do everything. So just give yourself all the permissions. And from my understanding, just let the student roles stay the same. Like you don't want to give them permission to be an administrator because then they're going to screw with the server and that's not good. So make sure that that happens. Thank you, Dusty. We have an answer to that question about blocking. They're saying you can block people, but they don't leave the server unless you kick or ban them. Okay, so now we have the Discord terminology. Blocking people is different than kicking or banning them from the server, which is when they're banished from your classroom. Thank you very much, you guys. So helpful. Those of you who are here helping everybody out, I feel like this is like totally a collaborative workshop. So great. Wish every lecture I did was like this. It's like you have this chorus of people who like know more and are like helping you out in your lecture. It's kind of awesome. Okay, so again, the template link is in the video description below. And you are going to need to set your role because even if you use our Discord server template, you're going to have to give yourself a role. So you want to go in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see yourself in there and you want to set your role to teacher. And you can see that your role is set because if you click on your profile picture, this little window pops up and you'll see there's a little pink dot. It says teacher. So that's your role. And that's what people are going to see when they see your profile picture. For your profile picture, obviously you don't want to be a Discord icon. That looks weird. So go down to the bottom. There's a little gear. It says user settings, and you can change your profile picture there. That's pretty easy. And you can also create categories. So to create a category, it's that same menu in the upper left-hand corner. And you can see there's a category, it says create category. So you would tap on that to create a new category. And then this window pops up. You just type in the name of the category, tap create category, and you're all done. So it's really simple to create these, really easy to delete. You don't like it, you just go back, you delete it. I mean, you can play with this as much as you want. Really, really helpful. Jumping Spider is asking, do I need to know students' Discord usernames to invite them to a server? Or can I just send the invite link to their school email address? When the student joins, how will I know who is who? Great question. Okay, so you just send the invite link. That's all. So just send an email to the whole class. Hi, everybody. Here is the invite link to the Discord. Please join, and have them reply back to your email. Say, please reply back to this email with your Discord username so I can identify who is who. Chances are they're not going to want to create a second account with their real name. So I think it's much better just have them give you a list of what their usernames are. And I think that will be a lot better. Okay. And by the way, there are those nicknames that people mention. So that's another option. You can use your real name as your nickname. Okay. Now, again, if you make a category and you change your mind, you're like, oh, I don't want to name it that. You just right click the category and you can edit it. And it just takes you to this window and you can just change the name. So this is very flexible. What I think is cool about having the Art Prof Discord server template is we've done most of the hard stuff for you. And so what you're just going in, you're just coming in, making a couple little tweaks, you're going to be ready to go. And I think that's going to be a big difference for a lot of teachers. Yeah, so Teresia, just to back up what I was saying earlier, there's also a way to set a nickname in a server in case a student uses Discord for other things, which is likely. I mean, most students, if they're doing gaming or if they're in a fandom or something, I wouldn't say everyone's on it, but it's pretty common now. I feel like most college and high school students do have a Discord account. Okay, let's see. Next, you want to create channels. And the way to create a channel is you just go to the plus button and it lets you add a channel. And when you create a channel, it's going to give you the option to make it a text channel or a voice channel. So you have to decide which one you want it to be. So the option is voice channel. You want to check that off if that's what you want. And then at the bottom, if you want to edit the channel later on, you just tap on that gear button and then you can edit the channel name. You want to edit the channel permissions if you want. Again, you may not need to do that, but you guys can see that we've done most of the hard work for you. And so most of these things that you guys, if you want to tweak the name of something, it's pretty easy to figure out because you just tap on like some of the icons and you can find it. Okay, now I know some people are teaching multiple classes. You can format it any way you want, but in my opinion, I would do one server per section. I do think that it's easier that way because then there's more space for people. I feel like if you have one server and 4 sections in that server, yes, I feel I would be very confused. I mean, I know somebody earlier said, oh, but then I have to post the same content 4 times. But I feel like as a teacher, I do that anyway because they all have different deadlines because they meet on different days. Ultimately, see what works best for you. But for me, I just feel like I would have more room to move around if I knew that one server was for one class. Okay, so you can see, you can set different pictures for each server. So you can say, okay, that is course number 1. And you can say this one is course number 2. So it's really, really easy to create different servers and identify them on the left-hand side by the images. Okay, you can create a second server really easily. Once you are in Discord, you set up an account, you set up your first server, you just click on this green plus button to create a second server. And then it shows this, it says, oh, another server, create a new server. And it's pretty straightforward. So honestly, you guys, if you use our template, it's not going to be hard. I mean, obviously you have to watch this tutorial, but compared to Googling like every 5 minutes, how do I, do this in Discord? It's a real pain. And like I said before, you guys should come hang out with us in the Art Prof Discord because we're here to help teachers. We want to give you guys the information you need because a lot of the training that schools are offering, it's not customized for hands-on classes. It's customized for lecture classes, and that's not what we do. So you can see here, we have 2 servers, 1 server per course. So again, the Discord server, it's the template link. It's in the video description below. You guys can find that. And just to sum up, we have the interactions in Discord, videos in YouTube, and storage of files in Google Drive. We have a couple of questions here. Jumping Spider says, in the invite email, I would request a reply with the students' Discord usernames and request that the students add their real name as a nickname within the server. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Good job. Terrific. I should have put that in the slideshow, but here it is. It's a good thing you were here to ask that question so we could figure that out because I feel like you said that so succinctly. It's really, really helpful. Okay. So if you guys did not know, we have consolidated all of our teaching and learning art online resources on artprof.org, which is our main site. And if you go to that section, there are multiple areas. There's a section for teachers, there's a section for students, and you can always find it in the menu bar on the left-hand side. There's information about how to do live streaming. And if you scroll down, these are the different sections. There's equipment, there's critiques, there's prompts, home art supplies. I had a lot of people who really wanted to know about how I did demos, the specific equipment, and also the physical setup. So I do have information like recommended equipment, links so people can find things. In fact, I do have a whole section of what you should not use. So in my opinion, I mean, of course, you guys should use what you have available. If you have a limited budget, of course, definitely. And then we have lots of videos that are just critiquing mistakes, setting up a home art studio, even advice from 2 students who helped me so much last spring when I was teaching remotely at RISD. Art Prof has a podcast. We are on Spotify. We're also on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review. And since this is a Discord stream, it only makes sense to go hang out in the Art Prof Discord in the post live streams channel. The invite link is in the video description below. I cannot think of a better time for you teachers who do not have a Discord account to set one up right now and join us, hang out in the Discord, and we can talk about Jane Eyre and Michael Fassbender, or whatever you guys want to talk about, whatever is relevant in your life. Subscribe to the Art Prof channel and join the Art Prof family. And thank you so much to our top Patreon supporters who make everything possible here at Art Prof. Thank you so much to everybody in the live chat. You guys made the stream so much more helpful. Oh my goodness. If I had done the stream totally by myself, I feel like I would have covered half the content. So thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Everybody, I'll see you in the Discord. See you next time. Bye-bye.